Title: Wife showed up after 5 days missing. She smirked, "Be grateful I even came home." I said, "Thanks, but you don't live here anymore," and handed her a yellow envelope. Start: When she walked through the door after 5 days missing, she didn't look scared. She looked entertained. Her lipstick was too neat for a woman who claimed she'd been lost. Her eyes scanned the room like a tourist returning to a once familiar city. Then she smirked. "Be grateful I even came home," she said. I smiled back, not out of affection, out of finality. "Thanks," I said quietly, handing her the yellow envelope, "but you don't live here anymore." She frowned, then hesitated. The moment she opened it, the color drained from her face. I watched her eyes dart across each page, the receipts, the photos, the lawyer's notice, until her jaw trembled. And for the first time in months, silence belonged to me. We were the kind of couple people envied. 8 years together, 6 years married. We had rhythm, shared jokes, late-night drives, and quiet mornings that felt like promises. She used to say I made her feel safe. I used to think that was love. Turns out it was convenience. It started small, a change in her scent when she came home late, a new password on her phone. Her laughter, sharper, shorter, like she was saving her real smile for someone else. I tried to ignore it at first, told myself it was stress, exhaustion, or maybe distance creeping in. But when she started sleeping with her phone under the pillow, I knew. I didn't explode, I observed. One night, while she showered, I mirrored her phone onto my laptop. It wasn't difficult, she was careless. Her messages with him were brief, coded, but clear enough. Last night was worth the risk. He suspects nothing. They met in hotel rooms, not far from where we lived. I recognized the wallpaper from a photo she'd once posted, captioned, "Me time." The pain didn't come all at once. It arrived in slow waves. Anger, disbelief, and then something colder. I stopped feeling betrayed. I started feeling focused. Revenge isn't rage, it's patience, and I had plenty of that. I began with the bank accounts, quietly moved my salary to a separate one under my name. Then I gathered proof. Screenshots, GPS logs, a few recorded calls where her voice trembled just enough to confirm guilt. Next came the house, joint property, but not for long. I contacted a lawyer and rewrote my will, shifted ownership of assets, and locked the accounts behind layers she couldn't access. Then I waited. She texted less, came home later. Once, she said she was at her sister's, but her sister posted vacation photos from Dubai the same night. When she finally disappeared for 5 days, I didn't file a missing report. I simply changed the locks. On the 5th morning, I got a message from an unknown number. It was her. "Coming home today." No apology, no explanation, just entitlement. I prepared the living room. 1 chair, 1 envelope, 1 glass of water she'd never drink. The lawyer had told me the documents were enough to nullify her claim to anything. The photos would handle the rest if she tried to fight. When she entered, I didn't raise my voice. I didn't ask where she'd been. She tried to dominate the space immediately, standing taller, arms crossed, like she was the one wronged. "Are you really going to make a scene?" she said. I handed her the envelope instead. The sound of paper tearing was the loudest thing in the room. Inside were her own messages printed line by line, copies of bank transfers from him to her, a photo of the hotel sign, and at the bottom, divorce papers already signed on my side, along with a letter from my lawyer confirming she'd forfeited her right to our house and joint savings by committing fraud and adultery. Her confidence cracked fast. "You can't." I already did. She looked around like she could still find her footing in a place that no longer recognized her. "This is still my home," she whispered. "Not anymore," I said. You sold your place for a few nights in a hotel." Her lips parted, but no words came, just the faint sound of her breath breaking. There's a particular peace in watching the truth rearrange someone's face. She wasn't angry, she was scared. Not of me, but of losing everything she thought she could still control. She tried the sympathy card next. Tears, apologies, promises that it didn't mean anything. I'd once fallen for those lines. Now they sounded like static. "You disappeared for 5 days," I said. "I had time to think about everything. And to prepare." "What do you want from me?" she said finally. "Nothing," I said, standing. "That's the point." When she realized there was no way back, she grabbed the envelope again, scanning through it, as if there might be a loophole. There wasn't. Even her car was gone. I'd transferred the lease that morning. Her name, her access, her power, gone before she ever walked back through that door. I watched her leave with the same calm she once weaponized against me. No shouting, no chaos, just the sound of her heels clicking away like punctuation to an old sentence finally ending. A week later, she tried to contact me again. Voicemails, emails, even a letter. I didn't respond. The lawyer did. People always assume revenge is dramatic, a violent explosion of retribution. It isn't. It's the quiet removal of access. The art of taking back what was freely given and making them watch the door close from the outside. I'd loved her once. But love is a form of trust, and once it dies, all that remains is the echo of what you should have noticed sooner. Now the house feels lighter. Her things are gone. The silence doesn't hurt anymore. It listens. Sometimes I still see the yellow envelope in my mind. Not as proof of betrayal, but as a reminder, never beg someone to stay who's already halfway out the door. That envelope was her ticket out, and my piece signed into existence. I don't regret a single thing. I didn't destroy her life. I just handed it back to her, without the lies. And that's the cleanest revenge there is.